In October of 2019, search and rescue teams were combing through the dense wilderness of the Willamette National Forest in Oregon. They had been out there for 4 days. No body, no tracks, no answers. And then, on the 5th morning, one of the volunteers spotted something in the mud. Camera, small, black, half buried in the wet earth, face down. The volunteer crouched down and picked it up carefully. And then he did something none of them expected. He turned it on. It still worked. And what was on that camera would go on to disturb every single investigator who ever watched it. The man who owned that camera was 34-year-old Marcus Webb. He had gone camping alone. His camera was found. He was not. Before we talk about what happened in that forest, you need to understand who Marcus Webb was. Because that is the part that makes this story so deeply disturbing. Marcus was not an amateur. He was not reckless. He was not unprepared. He had been hiking Oregon's backcountry for 11 years. 11 years. He knew how to read weather. He knew how to navigate without cell signal. He knew what to do if things went wrong. His friends described him as the kind of person you would want beside you if you were ever actually lost in the woods. He was also meticulous. Every single camping trip Marcus ever took, he documented on camera. His whole life he had done this. He filmed sunrises. He filmed trails. He filmed himself talking about his day. His roommate once said, that camera was basically his diary. Something happened to Marcus. The camera would tell you. Those words would turn out to be more accurate than anyone could have imagined. On October 3, 2019, Marcus packed his truck. He told his roommate he was heading to the Willamette National Forest for a solo 3-day trip. He had done this exact same trip twice before. He had his tent, 4 days of food, a first aid kit, his compass, his knife, and his camera. Always the camera. His plan was simple. Hike in 8 miles to Crest Lake. Set up camp. Spend 2 nights. Be home by Sunday. Simple. He never came home on Sunday. The footage from day 1 was completely normal. You can see Marcus hiking confidently down the trail. Morning light through the pines. He is talking to the camera. Laughing. Pointing out a hawk in a tree. He looks happy. At peace. By midday he had reached Crest Lake. The footage from that afternoon is, honestly, beautiful. He sets up his tent on the shore. He cooks a meal. He films the lake at golden hour. In one clip he turns the camera on himself and says, "This is why I come out here. This is the whole reason." He goes to sleep that night without a single sign that anything is wrong. Day 2 begins at 6:47 in the morning. And this is where investigators noticed the first thing. Something had changed. Not dramatically, not obviously. But if you watch day 1 and then watch day 2 back to back, you would feel it. The energy was different. Marcus looked different. He was sitting inside his tent, the camera propped up in front of him. And he was speaking quietly, almost carefully, like someone who was trying to sound calm. Something woke me up last night, around 3 a.m. The forest just went completely silent. You know that feeling? When every single sound just stops? And then I heard it. Something moving outside the tent. It wasn't a small animal. Whatever it was heavy, moving slow. He paused here for a long moment, looking somewhere just off camera. And then he said, "I don't know. I'm probably fine." He smiled after that, but the smile didn't reach his eyes. What followed in the footage is 4 minutes and 12 seconds of Marcus standing outside his tent in the early morning darkness. Flashlight in hand. Camera pointed into the trees. 4 minutes of that flashlight beam cutting through the forest. Pine trunks, branches, fog, darkness. Nothing visible. Nothing captured. Or at least, nothing that anyone has been able to clearly explain. But he barely speaks, and he keeps glancing over his shoulder. And then at 11:22 in the morning, Marcus picked up his camera, pointed it at himself, and said something that made every investigator sit up straight. "I'm packing up and heading out today. 1 day early. I'll explain when I get home." He forced another smile, adjusted his backpack, and started walking back down the trail. That was the last footage recovered where Marcus Webb appeared completely himself. At 2:15 in the afternoon on October 4th, Marcus's camera recorded one final video, 47 seconds long. 47 seconds. Now I want to be careful about how I describe this next part. 3 investigators reviewed the 47-second clip as part of the official search inquiry. All 3 of them, independently. And not one of them, not a single one, ever described what Marcus said in that recording. They were asked multiple times by reporters, by Marcus's family, by the official inquiry board. Every single time they refused. What they did describe was this: the camera appears to have been set down or dropped on the forest floor approximately 1 mile from the campsite, off the main trail. Off the main trail, which means Marcus had left the path he was supposed to be on. In the footage, the camera is pointing upward at the forest canopy. Gray sky visible through the trees, wind moving the branches, and there is a sound. Marcus's voice, whispering something. The investigators would not say what he whispered. And then, the camera moves sharply, like it was dropped suddenly. Hits the ground, and goes still. One lead investigator, when pressed in a follow-up interview 2 years later, said only this: "Some things are better left unshared." That was all he ever said. A full-scale search and rescue operation was launched by dawn on Monday morning. They found his truck at the trailhead, locked, untouched. By Tuesday afternoon, dogs had tracked his scent along the trail all the way to Crest Lake. And that's where they found his campsite. Everything was exactly as he had left it. Everything, except Marcus. On day 4 of the search, a volunteer found the camera approximately 1 mile from the campsite, in dense off-trail undergrowth, face down in the mud. They expanded the search perimeter around the camera site. For 3 more days, teams combed every square yard. Nothing. No scraps of clothing. No broken branches. No footprints in the deep mud. On the 8th day, with winter weather closing in, the official search was called off. His family was told to wait. They are still waiting. There are rational explanations for what happened to Marcus Webb. An animal attack. A sudden fall into a hidden ravine. Hypothermia leading to paradoxal undressing. All of these things happen in the Pacific Northwest every year. They are real. They are tragic. But none of those rational explanations account for the camera. They don't explain why a man who had 11 years of wilderness survival experience would suddenly run a mile off trail. They don't explain why he would drop his most prized possession in the mud, face down. And they don't explain why 3 grown, battle-tested investigators looked at what he recorded and decided to stay silent. There is a theory that the forest knows exactly what happened, that the answers are written in the bark of those old-growth pines. Marcus Webb went into those woods confident, experienced, prepared. And something in that forest, in those trees, decided that he would not be coming back out. The Willamette National Forest still stands today. Trails still open. Hikers still go in. Crest Lake is still out there. 8 miles in. Still beautiful. Still surrounded by those same trees. That same silence. And somewhere, 1 mile off the main trail, in a section of dense undergrowth that search teams combed through a dozen times, is the place where Marcus Webb's camera hit the ground. The place where his voice went quiet. Whatever happened in those 47 seconds, happened there. And no one, is talking. If you ever find yourself hiking alone in a forest at night, and the sound suddenly stops, every bird, every insect, every rustle in the leaves, just stops. Don't look for what made it stop. Just walk. Walk fast. And don't look back. I'm Mr.Sayyaf. And I'll see you in the dark. And I'll see you in the dark.